Hello and welcome to the new episode of our SQL learning. And in today's episode, we will primarily focus on create statement. But create statement cannot be alone studied unless we insert some data, select and check it back. So while doing the create, we are also going to learn insert statement as well as the basic select statement. So first of all, let's understand the categorization of these statements. So first is data definition language. See, DDL or data definition language is essentially set of SQL commands that are used in order to define the schema of the database. It is simply deals with the description of the database schema and used to create, modify structure of database objects in the database. So basically create, alter, drop. What happens? Create, you can create a table, you can create an index, you can create a view. So basically it's going to create it. Then alter statement, you can alter certain things. And then there are drop statement, which actually can help you to drop the objects like table, indexes, views. Similarly, alter, you say alter table and you want to add new column. See, nothing is static. It's a dynamic world. So you create a table, tomorrow you need additional column. How do you do that? Alter. Now you created a table for testing. How do you drop it? Drop statement. So DDL statements are used to define the database structure, but they do not modify the data stored in the database. See, they do. So what is happening right now? This is only structure. There's no data inside it. So DDL statement is not going to insert, update or delete the data in the objects. The objects has to get data from different way, like table. How does it get the data? So for that we have, DML, what we call data manipulation language. Now data manipulation language is, insert, update, delete from the tables, database table. So basically the SQL commands that are used to manipulate the data that is stored in relational database. DML statement can include select, insert, update or delete. Select statement retrieve data from database. Delete used to delete the records in tables. Insert used to insert new records in table. Update used to update. So what would happen? You will create a table. So you used a DDL, created. Then we will insert DML. Then we will select DML again. Okay. So this is the flow today we are going to try out. Now, what is the syntax of create statement? Create statement is create table, table name, column name, data type, not null if you wanted to give, and primary key. If you give primary key, it will always be not null. Then again, from that next row onwards, the column name itself is means if you are giving column name, data type, that is must and the constraint is optional, but you have to give column name and data type. And then this entire things comes between the parentheses, and then at the end you give a semicolon. If you are running on the SQL prompt, then that's the end of the command. Okay, so that's the create syntax. Now insert, what happens? Insert into, then you have to give the table name. Now the list of the column names are optional. If you are inserting all the columns, then you don't need to give. But if you don't want to insert all the columns or in the same order you have created the table, let's say I created ID and name. If I'm inserting ID and name, that is fine. But you say I want to insert only name and I want to insert name comma ID in that order, then you have to give the column list and then the values in the same order. So values should come in the same order as in the column list or as in the table if there is no column list. We'll take an example for that. Then the third statement which we are going to learn is select statement, and select is something which we'll learn a lot. Actually, we will learn different kind of select statement, but right now we will just use the basic select statement. But the syntax of the typical simple select statement is select column names from table. Now, if there are multiple tables, tables and joins. Then where clause, group by and having. So right now we are going to learn very simple statements. So we might end up till where clause. We might say select star. If you want to select all the columns, you say select star. Okay. So we will go to SQL Server. Now, what also we need to do is we need to understand what are the different kind of data types what we have in the SQL Server. Because unless we know all the data types in SQL Server, then only we can use it in create statement. So we need to know what are the different kind of data types supported by SQL Server. So if you are doing it on Oracle, you need to see what are the different kind of database supported in Oracle. Same is true for MySQL and PostgreSQL. So what I've done, I have opened this article from the Microsoft website where I have the, what different kind of data types which are supported. So these are the different kind of data types which are supported. Like for exact numeric, you have big int, big, decimal, int, money, numeric, small int, small money, tiny int. and for approximate you have float and real. For date and time you have date time to date time offset, small date time. For character you have char, varchar and text. For Unicode settings you have n varchar and text. For binary you have binary, var binary and image. Other data types are cursor, row version, hierarchical ID, unique identifier, SQL variant, XML, spatial geometry type, spatial geography type and table. Okay, so these are the various kind of data types which are available. We will begin with very basic data type. Typically those would be int, character, varchar and float. Now, and sometime we might use decimal or data type also, but typically we will start with that. Date time 2 is something really common also, again in SQL Server we can use that. So let's begin our journey, start creating these things, and when we learn more we will have more understanding of these data types, how they behave, how to convert one data type into another data type. That will keep on learning. So let's begin from the SQL Server. Let's log in and just start our journey. So I have already started my SQL Server. I have stopped after the previous session, and from services.msc I've already started it. Let me connect. Okay, it's connecting. So we'll now do certain create statement, and we already have the database. If you remember last time we created this learn SQL database, I clicked on the database plus button, then I got this learn SQL plus button I pressed. Again, if I press the plus button, I will be able to see my table, and then I can right click on the table and I can say select 1000 rows to view my rows. Now, but this is not what I want right now. I want a new query. So if you see here, your database name is selected right now, learn SQL, and then you can say new query. So make sure that this name is here. If by mistake you change the name and you have multiple database, the statements might get executed on that. And if sometime you don't have a table, you might get error, or if you might end up creating it in different database. Okay, so let me start a new query. So now this time again we'll start with a simple create statement. So we'll say create table. So first two things of the syntax, name is demo1, and then we will create only single element table, id int. Now int, big int, small int, all only different by how much data you wanted to put in. Very simple statement. We say create table name parenthesis start id int. Now I select this statement and I say execute. Now to know whether it's showing the table is created, there are few views to know the table has been created. One is you refresh this and you should be able to see the tables under the tables. So you see a demo1 table. Another one is you try to select it, select star from demo1. Now right now, because only schema I have is DBO schema, that is why I don't need to say dbo.demo. But if we have multiple, then we have to see dbo.demo1. Also right now I'm in learn SQL database. That's why I'm not saying learn SQL.dbo.demo. But if I want from demo to access learn SQL, then I need to do that. Okay, so these are few things we will learn over a period of time. Now what's happening now, where I selected the statement and then I press execute, or I could press F5. I got this select star from demo. Now if you are on a SQL developer, alt enter or control enter are something which works. Now same is true for MySQL also. There also these kind of things work. Now PostgreSQL, you might have a different experience on PG admin. What I'm experienced, I'm talking about the workbench and the SQL developer for Oracle, and workbench for MySQL. So we got nothing is there. Now we have to insert. Now the first way of insert, because we know we only have one column, so we can't commit a mistake of inserting that. The only thing we need to make sure that we are having the correct sentence. So insert into demo and we say values, and there is only one value which we are entering. So we say value and it is inserted. Now again what we have to do is we have to again do the select statement, and let me write them in order so that when I give you the script, you should be able to execute it in that particular order. Now I want to insert more. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write down one more insert statement. So I'll say insert into this one 2. I have only one column. Can I insert a null? But before that, let's say select. Okay. Let's say insert into this one and we say here can we insert a null, null, and we are able to insert, seems like. Let's query this and check it out. So we say select star from demo. So now we are seeing null row. Now what we have to do is basically we have to count the number of rows and check it out how many rows of data we have. Okay, is it showing 2 or is it showing 3? Right now it is showing 3, but there is a statement select count star from demo 1, and see, this is how we'll keep on learning. So I want to know the count of all the records in the table. I say select count star. Now count can have a version count 1, checking first column. Also there are versions, so 3. Now another version let's try out by giving 1. Okay, so same results we are getting right now. So we are getting 3 rows. So count star in the parenthesis from table name will give us the count from the table. Now it could be a costly statement. If your table is really big, then we can select a particular column's count. That also we can do. Now this is single table column. We are able to insert null value. Now if I create a table which is having a constraint of not null, will I be able to do that? And can I insert a duplicate? So first let me insert a duplicate here and then we will move forward. So let me copy these 2 statements here below, because I'm doing it in a sequence so that, if you want this script, I can give it to you. So let me do this thing, insert and then execute, or F5. I actually inserted 3 and let me execute it, and let me execute it again. 3 again, let me execute. So insert into demo 3. It has inserted, it has not given me any error, and it has given me the 3 twice. So there is no constraint right now. We are able to insert null value. We are able to insert also the blank value. We are able to insert duplicate value. Both of them we are able to insert. Now let's move one step further. So one step further is we take this table this time again, and let me put this is SQL command, basically hyphen. Now if you are on a MySQL, you might have to give a space after this one, because MySQL workbench only consider it as comment once you give a space after double hyphen. Okay, the minus sign. Now let me paste this. Now I say I would want to create a table demo2, and let me change all of them to demo2. And if you are not comfortable, write it again. So create table demo2 id int, and let us say, can we write down here not null? How to write down not null? So what we are saying, this time it cannot be null. So we say, okay, let's create this table, and let's, okay, command executed successfully. Let's see what we have in the demo2 table. Now in the demo2 table, we don't have any rows right now. So let's start inserting, isn't it? So we insert first row. Now this time around, what we'll do is let us insert 2-3 things together. So we insert 2, we again insert 2, and then we insert null. Now let us try in this database, can we execute the multiple statements? So we select these 3. I'm not selecting this. Let me say here, okay, this comment, and let me execute. So I'm trying to insert twice, and then I'm also trying to insert null value. Let me do this twice insertion, and let me query post that, because I would like to show you the error of the null. So let me put a select star from demo here. Okay. So let me run these, select these 2, run. Okay, it show 1 row affected, 1 row affected, twice it has shown the message. Then let me show you 1, 2, 2. It means duplicate I am still able to insert. So 1, 2, 2, 2 duplicate values has been inserted. Now let's say insert into demo values null. I want to insert a null value now. And what our table is saying, not null here. Does it make any difference? So it is saying cannot insert a null value in the column ID. Learn, see, complete. Learn SQL.dbo.demo2. The column does not allow null value, insert has failed. Now let's query. Does it really inserted or only giving us a false message? It is actually not inserting. Now let us do one thing. We have not experimented. Can we insert a character or something like that? Now in database, how do we insert characters or the text? We give it in single quotes. So we give 3 in the single quotes. Right now I'm giving a number. Can database take this number as it as a number? I am only giving a number. Now, okay. Now, if you are a BI user like a Power BI or a Tableau user, we typically give there in double quotes. Now, I am also one person who's using Power BI pretty heavily, so I'm quite a few times end up writing down in double quotes when I'm practicing the SQL. But don't write it in double quotes, you have to write it down in single quotes. Now, database may vary. Some database may support double quotes, but most of the database supports string or the text, char and varchar, typical data types what we use in the single quotes. So I have to give it in single quotes. Now this row has inserted. Why? Because type conversion has happened, automatic type conversion has happened for us. And let's see what happens. Now next we see. So integer, and now it is not going to be true for all the databases. In some databases it might error. Okay, so don't just assume that, you know, in SQL Server the auto type conversion has happened from text to integer. So it will happen, it may not happen. Now let's try for A. Okay, so I'm saying now insert into demo2 value A. A is in the single quotes. Let's see what happens. Now it has say conversion failed, converting varchar A into data type int. See, why it is saying converting varchar A into data type? Because it was trying to convert automatically. So SQL Server by default was typecasting it. So type conversion was happening and it was not able to do. Now in some other database, it may happen that A has a value which basically we have value assigned to everything. Like we have ASCII values assigned to everything. It might convert and give that value. But most of the time you should be having this error this kind of error, data type conversion has failed, or you are not giving a correct data type. So A it is not able to see. Let's see, is it the message or something has inserted? So now it's not able to take the character. The database do the typecasting of integer into varchar by default it is doing. We don't have to do that. As long as that is a correct one, it's able to do that. So now we have seen an example where we are able to create a single column table and insert the value null, and without null also we have taken an example. Now time has come that, and then let me copy this comment. Now what I'm going to see, can I make it as a primary key? What is the syntax for that? So and when I'm going to create primary key, see it start giving error. The moment it realizes you want to create a table, it may end up giving you error. Okay, now it depends on studio to studio. Now some studio will give, some studio may not be able to give, and sometimes what happens, because of the cache it might give error at a wrong place. Sometimes you create a table and immediately it will not be able to identify whether the table is there or not. Okay, so we say create table demo3, and what I'm going to see, let me say int primary key. Corrected the spelling, primary key. Let me try out. So create table demo3 id int primary key. I'm not saying not null, and ideally primary key should be not null. Okay, let's do that. Let's execute that, and let's say select star into demo3. Nothing is there. Let's insert the value, first value. Let's do a select again. So we select it. Now let's insert one more value and then we'll try to duplicate it. Let's insert demo2, value get inserted. Let's see the select statement. 2, no difference. Now let's again try to insert the select 2. Now again try to insert 2 value 2. Fine. So we are going to execute insert 2 and it gives an error. Violation of primary key constraint null pk demo3. It automatically created a constraint. Cannot insert duplicate key in the object dbo demo3. The duplicate value is 2. Okay. Look at the table. Fine. Now let's try to insert null. Cannot insert null value into column id. The table learn.dbo.demo3 column does not allow null values. Primary key does not allow null value. We don't have to enforce. RDBMS is enforcing, and that is what all 12 rules what we have studied. See the implementation here. You are not managing, you are not writing down any code here that it is a primary key or not, it should be not null. Once you set primary key, the database is going to ensure. And that is where the entire handling has gone into the hand of database. And that's where the shift has happened from the managing the data into the file system, from that era to the era where entire things has been managed by database, because you don't have to bother about so many things. You don't have to see, oh, whether it has a primary key or not, whether it is null or not. It's database who's going to take care. It's going to error out if you're not doing the right thing. So let's select and see what happens now. So only 2, because we can't insert duplicate, we can't insert null. Okay, so now let's try the unique constraint. We learned about primary key, we learned about unique key, and we learned about null. So we tested null, we tested primary key. Now time has come that we test the primary key also. So let me copy few statements here, and let me copy the comment also. Demo 4, and I'll call it a primary unique. Now there is no keyword key with the unique, so we will only say unique. Okay, select star from demo 4, insert into demo 4.1, select from demo 4. Okay, let's execute one by one. So create table demo 4 parenthesis start id space integer space unique. That is what I'm giving. Parenthesis closed. I got it. Select star from demo. Nothing is there. Let's insert value 1. One row is affected. 1 value 1. Let's try to insert it again. If it's a unique key, it should give me error for the same value. It is giving the unique key constraint, automatically constraint has been created, is violated, and then cannot insert duplicate. Fine, that's what we wanted. Okay, now let us try to insert a null value also. Unique should allow 1 null value, isn't it? So insert into demo, we are able to insert null value. We are getting null and 1. Now let's insert one more null value. It's erroring out violation unique key constraint, cannot insert duplicate value in the object. Then again try to select it. There is no duplicate here. Let's try to insert one more value, and then we know that the things are working fine for us. We this time insert a different value. Yes, everything is working fine. Now what we are going to do is, now we know how to create a primary key. We will also like to insert a varchar column. Okay, so we say create table, let's call demo underscore tab underscore 1. Now this table will create little bit differently. Here we will also have more than one column. So demo tab ID. Now I want to create an ID as a primary key. I don't want duplicate to be inserted. So ID primary key. Then we will have name, varchar. Now if there are reserved words, you may get an error. Now when we say varchar or char, now char means if I give 5 characters, it will always be 5 characters. Varchar means variable character. You insert 1 character, it will be 1 character. You insert 4 character, it will be 4 character. Char means it will automatically adjust with the space or something. The length would be that much only. So char only you should use when you want to have fixed like string, and typically we use character for 1 or 2 characters. So fixed number of, I will always have 4-digit code. I will always have one flag like yes and no. Then we use char. Otherwise for most of the things like name and etc. we will use varchar. Okay. So we are saying create table demo 1 ID primary key varchar, let's say 50. Now you need to be careful. If you not sure, you can have a bigger number, or you can actually, and they see here it is giving error because we have not given the data type int. So, and because your tables could be pretty big, you can end up giving big int. Big int will have even bigger range than that. So don't give just int, just give big int. Okay, so we say int primary key name varchar 50, and we want to create a table with 2 columns. Now how do we insert into this table? So we have to say insert into demo tab 1. Now if I don't want to give a column list, I need to make sure the values are in the same order. What do you mean by 1 comma name, let's say Amit. It is able to insert that. Now let me do one thing. Can I insert 1 again? I know it's a primary key, but let's have a testing. Now primary key violation is happening. Fine, so that is failing. We have not tested what we have inserted. Right now we are in insert mode. We say okay, now let's try to insert here one more key. Let's say A. I'm going to give text comma text. No, cannot convert. Okay, let's change the order and give. Now right now we are not giving the column list. What we are saying, we are still playing around with giving this. So we say okay, Amit as first and 2 as second. Let's say we'll also call it Sumit. So can I insert it like this? No, I can't. This need to be integer, this. So let's have one more statement. So let's say this is 2 and this is Sumit. Let's try this out. Now let us say select star. What's happening right now? Amit Sumit. Now can I insert null? It's a primary key, I know, but let's try it out. It can't insert null. Okay, so it's giving cannot insert null value. Okay, let me try. Can I? Okay, fine. Let me insert 3, same name. Can I insert the same name? Yes, I can insert the same name because the constraint is not on the name. Constraint is on the name on the ID. So there is no constraint on the name. That name cannot be duplicated. I can insert the same name as many times as I want. But the constraint is on what? Constraint is on ID. ID cannot be duplicated. Can I insert more than what I have? Will database say, okay, ignore whatever additional you are giving? So I say Sumit, comma, Amit. Let's see what happened. So it say the name, the column name and number supplied values does not match the table definition. So it's not matching with the table definition. So it is not able to insert. So now I want that, that independence of, column. Who would remember what all columns, the column number of columns can change, table can alter. Then what is the best way to insert it? So let's bring in this statement again. And this time we will do a small change. And what we are going to say, insert into demo table. And now we start giving the list. And this time what we are going to do is we are going to say name first and ID second. And then we say, let's give some different name. Let's say Ajay, comma 4. Okay, so we are saying insert into demo table tab 1. Name is the first column, ID is the second column, Ajay is the name, and value is 4. And it is executed successfully. Let's say what it has inserted. So now what we have done is we have started giving the column names. Now let us see. Can I only insert ID without name? Or let me insert in the same order. First of all, ID comma name, and I'll say 5 comma, let's say 5 comma Vijay. In the same order can I give? Yes, I can give in the same order. It's working. Now let's do one thing. Can I only insert the ID column without having a name? Or how do I insert a null value? So one way of inserting null value is that I just give value 6. Now I need to make sure that's ID. So value 6, one row is inserted. You have not inserted the value. What has been said in the concept? When we are not inserting a value, it's also null. I have not written null null here. What I've done is I've not inserted a value for name. So we are not inserting a null value. We are not inserting a value at all. Now, while inserting, if you want, you have to insert null. So say that I'm inserting null value. It's as good as saying create a row without value, or I'm not giving a value. Saying null means I'm not giving a value. Here what happened is I have taken another method where in that method I did not included that column. And I'm saying I'm inserting a row with only ID. So automatically the name has become null. Now I'll use another method where I'll insert one more row. And in this row, I'll say ID and name. And I'll say 7, ID 7 because it's the primary key I need to give. And here I am going to give specify null and null. Okay. And let me insert it and let me check it out what is happening here. Again, both the values are null. Now we will learn how to query these values and rest of the other values in some time. So this is basic table structure. How do we created it? How do we actually given the varchar column? And before we end today's class, let's insert a date value, and we will try to create a new table where we are going to insert a date value. And in that date value, we will say DBO, date of birth, date or date time 2. Let's try out, and demo 2. And we will create this table, and let's insert a record into this table. Now, first of all, this record will not insert because there are 3 values. See, you can't even give less when you are not mentioning, 2. So demo table 2 value 1. It is also column number supplied values does not match the definition. You have to give the 3 values. Now, a very common method in all the databases is there are particular way or format which you have specified as default format in your database. Those formats you can give date without conversion. So here, one of the format which is supported by SQL Server or MySQL by default, or even PostgreSQL, is YYYYMMDD, separated by hyphens. So in this manner, you might not require it to a conversion to date time. Okay, I am able to insert, and let me say select and check it out. Now we have to learn how do we do the format conversion and all those. Now date time 2 gives time till milliseconds. So that's why you will be able to see, I have not inserted anything around that. And that's the beauty of the conversion, that basically what is happening here is we have only given date. It automatically inserted the time around that one as 00000 everything. We can give the time also. We will experiment with this. So with this, we will stop today's session. From the next time onward, we will take little bit more complex stuff. We will try to insert few more values. We will have a primary key. We will have not null columns, and we will also learn how do we create automated generated sequences and what are the ways in other databases other than SQL Server for the same. So now for the data types, integer, you might have integer in almost of the databases, integer or big int. You may have a number in Oracle. Similarly, varchar is present everywhere. Date is present in Oracle. Date time is present in PostgreSQL and MySQL and Oracle. Most of the date time should be present. So, and the way of inserting the date could be little bit different based on the default format. Otherwise, if the format is sent like DD-MON-YYYY, in that format also you can write down the date. So depending on what default format is there, you can do, and we will slowly learn the conversions in different database. The conversion can again be a little bit different. We will see those minor differences when we come across. So how do you like this session? If you are directly watching this session, there was a previous session before this you should have watched. So try these things out. Do let me know what else you want me to cover in this particular series. Thanks for watching this video. Thank you. Keep watching, keep asking questions in comments, subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon so that you can get notification for new videos. Thank you.